Morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching this live on Facebook, thank you for that. And please remember that Facebook does keep these shows live throughout the day. Well, not live per se, but you can watch them at any point. You can also go back and watch old shows. If you are watching us elsewhere, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have audio and video versions there for you to check out. We do recommend you do so, and we appreciate you if you're listening to us there. Pretty clear this morning. I-12 is flowing with your traffic with some minor on-ramp delays. 4-H Club River Road and 190 looking pretty clear at this point, actually. And 64 heading into Central is flowing. There is no school traffic this morning because of hurricane or potential hurricane, currently tropical storm. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sally has canceled schools for today. Tomorrow, being Tuesday, still up in the air. And again, we'll talk more about Sally in just a second. It's currently 76 degrees, 92 degrees is your high today, 76. Your overnight low. You're looking at a 40% chance of rain, possibility of some outer bands from the storm we just discussed, starting at about 3 p.m. and going up from there into the evening. However, it does look like the sun is going to come out this morning. We already mentioned it before. As of the 4 a.m. update for Tropical Storm Sally, still expected to reach hurricane status sometime this afternoon, right off the coast of southern Mississippi and southeastern Louisiana. However, good morning, Miss Gianna. Thanks for joining us. However, the new tracks have pushed it much farther east, looking like we're going to catch the western side of the storm, usually a pretty good side to be on with regard to the hurricane. Still looking at the potential for 4 to 6 inches of rain at this point. Of course, as we've seen a lot, especially this summer and last, these storms can turn quite a bit, especially at the last second when they start hitting some of that off-land wind. So we're going to be keeping a keen eye on the next 24 hours for hurricane or Tropical Storm Sally, excuse me, not quite a hurricane yet. Expecting that transformation sometime this afternoon. But could turn either way at this point, kind of has it nicking Louisiana in the southeast, but mostly going over Mississippi, probably going to dump some rain in our area. At this point, again, looking at 4 to 6 inches, so over about a 24-hour period. So we're going to keep an eye on that track. We're going to see what happens today. Today's a big day in terms of potential to transform into a hurricane and probably getting a good idea of that final track as it hits land. Good thing, Amite, Tickfall, and Comite are all running low at the moment. Of course, drainage will be affected by storm surge, especially if the storm shifts and pushes across Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas. It'll push those lakes up. Please remember, we are a coastal community, so Lake Maurepas is affected by storm surge and tidal surge. So if those things do come up, harder for those rivers to drain. Usually they tend to fill up pretty quick and stay full for a while until those lakes level back out. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that as well. A lot of factors going into potential for damage when these storms come in, and that is one of them. Right now, winds looking pretty nominal. Something around 80 miles per hour is what's expected. It's the rain for this one. This one's picking up a lot of moisture. Again, expecting 4 to 6 inches on its current track. Of course, remember, last time I'm going to say this, that track could shift anytime over the next 24 hours before it hits land. We've seen it happen with a couple of these. Tropical Storm Laura picked up a ton of speed in the Gulf and eventually just shifted north just like this. And that probably didn't translate real well on the show, but it just sort of turned. Marco did the same thing about 3 days earlier. It looked like it was going to come hit us here in Livingston Parish and suddenly took a straight 90-degree turn across the coast. So got to keep an eye on these things right up until they make landfall. Right now, looking like we're going to get some heavy rains this evening and tomorrow, but nothing crazy. But again, storm could change track. Getting into your coronavirus statistics for the day, 157,455 cases statewide, 5,065 deaths, 2,065,795 total tests. 140,440 have recovered, 680 hospitalized on 107 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 3,558 total cases, 71 deaths, and 36,535 tests. So we learned last week that we are going to be moving into phase 3. It will last 28 days through October 9th. And here are some of the pieces of that puzzle. One, schools will be returning to 5-day-a-week instruction. It's going to be a hybrid, sort of staggered intro. A lot of people have asked, why are they doing that? Why doesn't everybody just go back to school? A lot of that is very dependent, one, on bus schedules. Please remember that even in phase 3, we're only at 75% bus capacity. So if you can bring your child to school, that is important. And it's also good to get teachers and administrators ready for those kids to come back to school, still having to practice mitigation efforts, including social distancing and masks. So trying to make sure that those administrators can kind of get kids back to school on a multiple day basis, try to get things back to normal. Because remember as well, split schedule. So normally these teachers and administrators for these past 4 or 5 weeks have been used to 50% capacity on campus with regard to students. That's changing. You're going to have most students coming back. Of course, virtual instruction will remain available. Now, of course, this has also pushed a lot of things forward with regard to football. Contact practices have begun, and there will be 25% capacity allowed at sporting events and outdoor events, which we'll talk about more in just a second. But of course, football being moved forward to October 1st will be those first games for the season as contact practice has begun. Now, businesses and houses of worship can increase to 75% capacity as long as social distancing can be met. Outdoor crowd sizes are limited to 50%. Casinos are still at 50%. Indoor gatherings, weddings, and birthdays specifically, 50% capacity for whatever the venue is. Indoor live music is not allowed. Alcohol sales for on-premises consumption is to end at 10 p.m. And bars will allow to be open in parishes that have 5%, in parishes that have 5% positivity rate or less over a certain amount of time. I believe it's a week. Nursing home visitation is still prohibited at this time, although a pilot program is in development through the Louisiana Department of Health to change that to make those places available for visitation. Sporting events, as we discussed, 25% capacity and no alcohol sales. Now, this is for crowds, of course. Things have already been occurring. If you'd like to go check them out, we do have swimming, cross country, and volleyball have all gotten started in Louisiana at the high school level. Mr. Rob DeArmond has been out and about covering those events, and we thank him for that. The big piece of this puzzle, of course, is that the mask mandate will remain in place at this time during the beginning of phase 3 as we kind of ease into this. There's a lot of easing at this point, trying to make sure that we don't have a spike again. So it's going to take some time to get used to these things, especially with the schooling. Please remember with school that it's going to be staggered. Now, we're waiting to see what happens with Tropical Storm / Hurricane Sally. Of course, school is canceled today. School may be canceled tomorrow. Staggering was supposed to begin this week with the final group, which was seniors, going back to school full-time starting Monday. So we're going to see, it was 6th grade and freshmen, then 7th grade and sophomores, and then on Friday, it was going to be 8th grade and juniors, and then starting Monday, seniors would return to school, and everybody would be back to 5-day instruction who made that choice. With the delays today, we still think things will start Wednesday, but we're going to seek confirmation from the schools to be sure that is correct. So please keep an eye out for that. But as of right now, that staggering reintroduction of 5-day-a-week instruction is supposed to start this week, regardless of the storm today and potentially tomorrow. Now, a lot of people have asked us about school cancellations and why does that happen. It's a very difficult decision on behalf of the school board and the school central office. But one of the things that we have learned from Superintendent Joe Murphy, and especially the transportation department, is that there are more kids than you think on routes that if there is flash flooding or iced over roads, buses cannot safely get to those children to bring them to school. Now, of course, in today's COVID world, there is reduced bus capacity, but it's still putting some of those families in danger. Now, of course, we did expect the storm to get here a little quicker. I know the school system was expecting a little rougher weather today Some school systems are not canceled in other places, while Livingston Parish is. Most public school systems are canceled for today. We will see what the final path will be for Sally, which will probably determine whether or not school stays canceled for Tuesday or not. But of course, today's cancellation out of an abundance of caution. The FEMA program that had kind of fallen into place because of an executive order from President Donald Trump, which was enhancing unemployment benefits, spent about $376 million in Louisiana, but it is coming to an end. If you watched last week and we said that program was supposed to last till the end of the year, that was on me. I misread. That was what President Donald Trump would have liked. Unfortunately, the money did run out pretty quick. So that unemployment benefit is ending. Of course, the state has had to borrow from the federal government to replenish the unemployment fund. Still quite a few people in Louisiana unemployed and drawing on that. It's going to be interesting to see. Unemployment numbers have been falling off quite a bit lately, but they're still quite, again, many people are unemployed. It's about 42,000 in the capital area. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with these new unemployment benefits, whether or not those people might seek part-time employment or that sort of thing. So time will tell. Again, the state has had to borrow. So as we discussed many weeks ago, the unemployment tax that goes towards or is derived from specific businesses' payroll is going to go up 25% per quarter until the fund is back over a certain amount. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that unemployment fund and what happens with the unemployment numbers over the next couple of days. Thank you, Mr. Ronnie. We appreciate you joining us. But we are going to be keeping an eye on that. So please remember, we are in phase 3. If you just joined us recently, we went through some of the changes that come with phase 3. I know a lot of people feel like they're not a lot, but again, it's an easing. We will see what happens. This is occurring through October 9th. So we could expect an enhanced phase 3 at that point, maybe some of these percentages being increased, which would be a great day. Getting back into your COVID-19 statistics real quick, 157,455 cases, 5,065 deaths, 2,065,795 tests. 140,440 have recovered, 680 are hospitalized on 107 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 3,558 cases, 71 deaths on 36,535 tests. Want to remind folks of the mitigation efforts. Please remember to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. Wear a mask in public. It is a mandate. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. Please remember, control your cough and sneezing with an elbow or a tissue, preferably your own elbow. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. Now, we're now up to 50 or less to a gathering, and in most cases, trying to keep it to 50% or less. Stay home if you're sick and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, and stay home if at all possible to work. Getting back into your traffic real quick, school is canceled, so not really worried about that school traffic this morning. I-12 is flowing with some minor delays on those on-ramps. 4H Club Road, River Road, and 190 looking pretty clear, actually, at this point. 64 into Central is flowing, as well as Greenville Springs. Currently 76 degrees, 92 degrees your high today, 76 your overnight low. Looking at a 40% chance of rain this afternoon, starting at about 3 p.m., with that chance of rain increasing, some of those outer bands potentially of currently Tropical Storm Sally reaching our area. Still waiting to see that development into a hurricane potentially happening this afternoon. Again, it is a slow-moving storm. If it stays on its current path and kind of nicks Louisiana and heads into Mississippi, currently looking at about 4 to 6 inches of rain in our area. Again, the rivers are running low, but that track could potentially change. Keep an eye on our Facebook page and our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com, as we provide updates throughout the day. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Want to remind folks that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We are also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. As we mentioned, we have a podcast page, which is free, a coronavirus page, which is free. We also have a breaking news page, which is where we put weather events like Tropical Storm Sally. We also put state and national news there. We also have arrests and traffic accidents there as well, and that is all free. We do hope you have a great day. It does look like it's at least going to be a beautiful morning. Please stay informed about Tropical Storm Sally, potential hurricane, as it moves towards us. It is slow moving with the potential to drop a ton of rain wherever it happens to hit, 16 to 20 inches in some of the hot spots. So I know it's not the best thing to do, but let's hope that it doesn't hit us here in Livingston Parish. So hopefully we just get some good late summer rain as we're now moving into phase 3. Hope you have a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning.